I want to talk to the person who has someone sleeping next to them every single night of the week in their beautiful king-sized bed and still feels completely alone. Maybe you're sitting in your car in the driveway for a few extra minutes before you go inside. Not because you don't want to be home, but because inside your home feels empty somehow, even though there's someone in there who supposedly loves you. Maybe you've tried to explain this feeling to someone and they looked at you like you were completely nuts. You're married. What are you talking about? How can you even be lonely? What's wrong with you? Maybe you haven't even told anyone at all, and that's partly why. Or maybe it's because you don't even fully understand it yourself. I get it, and I'm going to help make sense of this in the next several minutes. My name is Danka. I've been married for over 20 years, and I also happen to be a married couples coach. And I have been that person in the driveway. I felt lonely in a marriage that I loved with a man who loved me back. I have felt invisible in a room full of his friends, colleagues, even his family. I have come home from a trip multiple times and cried, not because anything terrible happened, but because I realized that I've been waiting for a connection that wasn't going to come the way that I needed it to. More on that later. I also coach couples for a living, and I mean real couples, not the ones that just need a tiny little tune-up. I mean the ones where one person is quietly falling apart on the inside and the other one has no idea that it's even happening until they walk into my office. So when I tell you that I've seen this from every angle, I mean it. Here's what I know, and here's what I want you to know. Nothing is wrong with you if you're lonely in your marriage. Your marriage is not necessarily broken yet, but something is. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what it is and what to do about it. So stay with me. This will definitely be worth your time. Here's the thing that nobody put in the wedding card. At some point, maybe from movies, maybe from watching other couples that you know, maybe just from hoping, we all picked up this idea that once you get married, your spouse becomes your everything. Your best friend, your confidant, your therapist, your activities director and partner, your social life, your emotional support, your whole village, all in one person. And here's the truth that will either make you feel a level of relief or will make you feel defensive when you hear it. That was never true. It was never going to be true. And the moment that you believed it, that's when the loneliness started. Because here's what actually happens. You believed the myth. I believed the myth. You and I get married, and then your spouse, who loves you, who's trying, who's genuinely a good person, otherwise you wouldn't have married them, inevitably cannot show up in one of those 100 ways that you needed them to show up on that particular Tuesday night. Maybe they are tired. Maybe they're wired a little differently. Maybe they just don't have the capacity that day. And instead of thinking, okay, this is just a human being doing their best, you think to yourself, why doesn't this feel like enough? Why do I feel alone in my own marriage still? What is wrong with me? Nothing is. You just believed a lie that everyone believes also. I remember reading a social media post, this is years ago, but years into my own marriage, this glowing post where someone, I think a couple years into their marriage, described their spouse, their partner as their lover, their best friend, their everything, right? The list went on what felt like forever, not even kidding. And I remember the look on my face reading it, part bitterness and part genuine sadness for them. Because I knew something that they didn't know yet. That list is not sustainable. And when real life hits, really, right? A couple more kids, a job loss, a death in the family, what have you, that list is going to come crashing down real fast. And the question, the million-dollar question, so to speak, when it does come crashing down, will you know why? Or will you just feel lonely and not understand it at all? Let me make sure that it's not the latter. I want to tell you a story. It's about something that happened to me more than once because, like I said in previous videos, I can be a slow learner when it comes to certain things. I would, and this is years ago, but I would go away for a few days. Sometimes it was for a conference for work, sometimes it was a trip with my girlfriends. And while I was gone, my husband would keep texting me, not just to check in quick, right? Like real text messages, warm ones even. Hey, I miss you so much. I can't wait for you to come home. And every time, every single time, I would read that message and I would think to myself, oh, he misses me. How sweet is that? So when I get home, we're going to have these beautiful moments together. He's going to want to hear everything. We're going to sit together, just the two of us, right? Put the kids to bed. I'm going to tell him about the trip, about the conference, all the things that I learned. And he's going to tell me what I missed while I was gone. And we're just going to sit together and feel connected, right? So naturally, I would get off the plane already looking forward to the smile plastered all over my face. Only then I would walk in the door and found out that he had made plans 4 nights in a row. Not even kidding. Either people coming over or him meeting friends or colleagues for a beer out somewhere in town. Things he had said yes to while I was gone. Perfectly good and fun things, by the way. Nothing malicious, nothing selfish even. Except it just didn't include me. And I felt abandoned in my own home as a result by someone who had just been texting me for days on end how much he was missing me. And he had said it again just an hour before. And here's the thing that I did for way longer than I'm proud to admit. I said nothing. I half smiled, I think. I unpacked my bags. I was pleasant enough. I took over with the kids or dinner or whatever was happening. I went to sleep feeling completely hollow, sad and disappointed. And I woke up the next morning feeling all of that because what was I supposed to say, right? And you may be with me on this one. You said you miss me, but then you made plans and you disappeared. That sounds crazy. That sounds needy even, right? And for heaven's sakes, we don't want to sound needy. And also, that sounds like something I shouldn't have to say out loud. It took me a couple rounds of this before I finally said it out loud to his face. Not in an argument, not as an accusation, just the truth. Hey, here's what's really confusing to me. When I leave town for whatever reason, when you tell me you miss me while I'm gone, and then I come home to a full calendar with you being completely unavailable to me, here's what that feels like to me. Not for you, for me. I just need you to know this. And he heard it because guess what? He didn't know. He had no idea because I hadn't said it before then. That's the moment. That's one kind of loneliness that people rarely, if ever, talk about. Then there was the loneliness of holiday plans made without me. Finding out 2 hours before we needed to be somewhere, with food in tow, mind you, that I was supposed to get and prepare ahead of time. My family was an ocean away, so we didn't have to make it work for them. His family was 20 minutes down the road. Side note, and if you're like me, not having grown up here, you don't know that on this random Thursday in November, every single grocery store in the country is closed. And you can't just pop in and pick something up. Now I know. I didn't know when I first moved here. Anyway, for years, I just got told where we were going instead of being asked. It's not always the big betrayals that make you feel alone in your marriage. Sometimes it's just nobody asked if you wanted to go, if that's something that you wanted to do at all. Then there was the loneliness of standing in the corner at his work events or his college reunion events, not knowing a single person, dying inside because guess what? This girl, not a fan of small talk. And he had disappeared within 5 minutes of us walking in together. Then there's the loneliness of realizing slowly, painfully, and I helped several friends with this one, and I've had couples in my practice too, but realizing that your husband was never going to be your BFF, right? He was never going to call from the airport because you all forgot to cover all the things while you were together all weekend. He was never going to need 1 more hour on the phone because there was just more to say. And then there was the loneliness of being the one who moved, who left family, friends, a language, a culture, knowing your way around town, even though If you were to ask my hubby now, I think he would admit even that I know my way around better than him, even though he's the one that grew up here. Anyway, but I had to start completely from scratch while he still had all his people, while I was trying to build something from zero in a country that doesn't really let you in very fast. That kind of loneliness, you almost can't explain it to someone who hasn't experienced it. Yet you just know it. You just feel it. And you sometimes turn to your spouse to fill a lot of that space because who else is there, right? And the reality is they can't do it. They can't. Not because they don't love you, not because they don't care, but because they are just one person. And what you've lost is a literal city. Okay, so here's what you actually do with this. 3 things, that's it. 3 things that will begin to shift this for you if you're willing. Number 1, you say the thing that you never said out loud. Not in a fight, not at the end of a long day where you're already both completely depleted. You create a moment. You make it happen. You sit down, you sit them down, and you say, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I have been feeling lonely. I love this marriage too much to just let that sit there and do nothing about it. You're not filing charges. You're not listing everything that they've done wrong for the last decade or 2. You are just naming your experience. You are in some way inviting them in. The loneliness that you carry in silence is the loneliness that stays the longest. The moment that you say it out loud, and if you've ever done this, you know that I'm right. The moment that you say it out loud to your spouse or to yourself, to anyone, things start shifting. Because now it's a problem that you can actually solve instead of it just being a feeling that you have to absorb because there's nothing else to do with it. And here's the most important thing I can tell you about this conversation. After you talk, after you've said your piece, after you've said your thing, I want you to stop talking. I want you to ask them what they see. Ask them if there are places that they feel the distance to. And then listen, just hear them out. Don't defend, don't explain, just receive it. One conversation will not fix 20 years, but one conversation can most definitely start something and start moving you in the right direction. Second, and I know this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I want you to let your spouse off the hook. They're not failing you by being one person. Your husband is never going to be your BFF. He's never going to experience the world the way that your closest female friends do. He's never going to need 1 more hour on the phone because there's just more to say. And that is not a flaw in him. That is just reality. The moment that I stopped waiting for John to be something that he was never built or meant to be, I stopped being disappointed. I stopped feeling lonely in those specific ways because I let my girlfriends be my girlfriends and I let him be my husband. And I helped other girlfriends and clients in my office do the same thing over the years. 2 completely different, completely beautiful things. So if you've been holding your spouse to a standard they could never meet, please hear me on this. Let them off the hook. Not because your needs don't matter, but because they matter too much to keep placing them somewhere where we know they will never be met, where we know they can't be met. And then the third one, I want you to build your village because your spouse can't be all of it. And this is one that nobody wants to hear because it feels like work. And especially the older we get, the more mature we get, the harder this feels. It feels like admitting something, but here it is. You are allowed, you're actually supposed to need more than just one person in your life. You're allowed to have friendships that your spouse cannot replace. You're allowed to build community outside your marriage, not instead of it, but alongside of it. You're allowed to find your people, even when it's slow and hard and it takes longer than it should and longer than we would want to. And if you're the one who moved, came to a new city, new country, new life, just like I did, I want to say this directly to you. You did not just leave a place. You left a village, a town, a city, and your spouse cannot replace it all. But you are allowed to build one here, wherever here is for you. Will it take time? 100%. Will it be awkward? 1,000%. You will have to initiate more than feels comfortable, but the loneliness that comes from having no one except your spouse, that is fixable. Not by your spouse, by you. By you and by me, by deciding that our lives deserve more than just one person in it. So before I let you go, I want to give you something. Consider this a permission slip if you ever needed one. You are allowed to feel lonely in your marriage. It doesn't mean that your marriage is broken or that it's over. It doesn't mean that your spouse doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that you made the wrong choice and you married the wrong person. It just means that you are human. It means that your needs are as real as they come, and it means that you are paying attention. Some of the loneliest seasons of my own life were the ones that changed us the most, because lonely got loud enough that I finally said something out loud. And saying something will be the start of changing everything. You and your spouse deserve a marriage where you feel seen, where someone asks your opinion before making a plan, where you come home and it feels like someone was actually waiting for you, not just the version of you that cooks and shows up and picks up with the kids and handles things, but you, your company. That marriage, just in case nobody said this to you in a really long time, I want you to hear it from me. That marriage is possible. I've seen it get built from really broken places over the last 14 years in my practice. But it starts the same way, every single time. One honest and real conversation. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, where do you feel it the most? What part of it is it? Tell me. And if this video landed for you, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more real conversations about marriage, this is what we do here. And if you're sitting in your car in your driveway right now, I want you to go inside and say the thing out loud. I'll see you in the next one.